The king of Sheba visited Solomon. When the king of Sheba heard of Solomon's fame, she came to Jerusalem to test him with hard questions. Arriving with a very great caravan with camel carrying spices, large quantities of gold and precious stones, she came to Solomon and talked with him about all she had on her mind. Solomon answered all her questions. Nothing was too hard for him to explain to her. When the king of Sheba saw the wisdom of Solomon, as well as the palace he had built, the food on his table, the setting of his officials, the attending servants in their robes, the cupbearers in their robes, and the burnt offering he made it. The temple of the Lord, she was overwhelmed. She said to King, the report I heard in my own country about your achievements and your wisdom is true. But I did not believe what they said until I came and saw with my own eyes. Indeed, not even half the greatness of your wisdom was told me. You have far exceeded the report I heard. How happy your people must be. How happy your officials who continually stand before you and hear your wisdom. Praise be to the Lord your God, who has delighted in you and placed you on his throne as king to rule for the Lord your God. Because of the love of your God for Israel and his desire to uphold them forever, he has made you king over them, to maintain justice and righteousness. They she gave the king to 120 talents of gold, large quantities of spice and precious stones. There had never been such spices as those the king of Sheba gave to King Solomon. The servant of Hiram and the servant of Solomon brought gold from Ophir. They also brought algum wood and precious stones. The king used the algum wood to make staff for the temple of the Lord and for the royal palace, and to make harp and lyres for the musicians. Nothing like them had ever been seen in Judah. King Solomon gave the queen of Sheba all she desired and asked for. He gave her more than she had brought to him. Then she left and returned with her retinue to her own country. Solomon's splendor. The weight of the gold that Solomon received yearly was 666 talents, not including the revenue brought in by merchants and traders. Also, all kings of Arabia and the governors of the territories brought gold and silver to Solomon. King Solomon made 200 large shields of hammered gold, 600 shekels of hammered gold went into each shield. He also made 300 small shields of hammered gold with 300 shekels of gold in each shield. The king put them in the palace of the forest in Lebanon. Then the king made a great throne covered with ivory and overlaid with pure gold. The throne had 6 steps, and a full step of gold was attached to it. On both sides of the seat were armrests, with a lion standing beside each of them. 12 lions stood on the 6 steps, on one at either end of each step. Nothing like it had ever been made for any other kingdom. All King Solomon's goblet were gold, and all the household articles in the palace of the forest of Lebanon were pure gold. Nothing was made of silver, because silver was considered of little value in Solomon's day. The king had a fleet of trading ships manned by Hiram's servant once. Every 3 years it returned carrying gold, silver, and ivory, and apes and baboons. King Solomon was greater in riches and wisdom than in all other kings of the earth. All the king of the earth sought audience with Solomon to hear to the wisdom God had put in his heart. Year after year, everyone who came brought a gift, article of silver and gold, and robes, weapons, and spices, and horses and mules. Solomon had 4,000 stalls for horses and chariots, and 12,000 horses, which he kept in the chariot cities and also with him in Jerusalem. He ruled over all the kings from the Euphrates River to the land of the Palestinians as far as the border of Egypt. The king made silver as common in Jerusalem as stone, and cedar as plentiful as sycamore fig trees in the foothills. Solomon's horses were imported from Egypt and from all other countries. Solomon's death. As for the other events of Solomon's reign, from beginning to end, and are they not written in the record of Nathan the prophet, in the prophecy of Ahijah the Shilonite, and in the vision of Iddo the seer concerning Jeroboam son of Nebat? Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel 40 years. Then he rested with his ancestors and was buried in the city of David his father. And Rehoboam his son succeeded him as king. Israel rebels against Rehoboam. Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel had gone there to make him king. When Jeroboam son of Nebat heard this, he was in Egypt, where he had fled from King Solomon. He returned from Egypt, so they sent for Jeroboam, and he and all Israel went to Rehoboam and said to him, "Your father put a heavy yoke on us, but now lighten the harsh rubber and the heavy yoke he put on us, and we will serve you." Rehoboam answered, "Come back to me in 3 days." So the people went away. The king Rehoboam consulted the elders who had served his father Solomon during his lifetime. "How would you advise me to answer 3 peoples?" he asked. They replied, "If you will be kind to these people, and please them, and give them a favorable answer, they will always be your servant." But Rehoboam rejected the advice the elders gave him and consulted the young men who had grown up with him and were serving him. He asked them, "What is your advice? How should we answer these people who say to me, 'Lighten the yoke your father put on us'?" The young man who had grown up with him replied, "The people have said to you, 'Your father put a heavy yoke on us, but make our yoke lighter.' Now tell them, 'My little finger is thicker than my father's waist. My father laid on you a heavy yoke. I will make it even heavier. My father scourged you with whips. I will scourge you with scorpions." 3 days later, Jeroboam and all the people returned to Rehoboam, as the king had said, "Come back to me in 3 days." The king answered them harshly, rejecting the advice of the elders. He followed the advice of the young man and said, "My father made your yoke heavy. I will make it even heavier. My father scourged you with whips. I will scourge you with scorpions." So the king did not listen to the people, for this turn of events was from God, to fulfill the word the Lord had spoken to Jeroboam, son of Nebat, through Ahijah the Shilonite. When all Israel saw that the king refused to listen to them, they answered the king, "What share do we have in David? What part in Jesse's son? To your tent, Israel. Look after your own house, David." So all the Israelites went home, but as for the Israelites who were living in the towns of Judah, Rehoboam still ruled over them. King Rehoboam sent out Adoniram, who was in charge of post robber, but the Israelites stoned him to death. King Rehoboam, however, managed to get into his chariot and escaped to Jerusalem. So Israel has been in rebellion against the house of David to this day. When Rehoboam arrived in Jerusalem, he mustered Judah and Benjamin. 180,000 able young men to go to war against Israel and to regain the kingdom for Rehoboam. But this word of the Lord came to Shemaiah the man of God. Say to Rehoboam, son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all Israel in Judah and Benjamin. This is what the Lord says. Do not go up to fight against you, fellow Israelite. Go home, every one of you, for this is my doing. So they obeyed the word of the Lord and turned back from marching against Jeroboam. Rehoboam fortifies Judah. Rehoboam lived in Jerusalem and built up town for defense in Judah: Bethlehem, Etam, Tekoa, Beth, Joru, Soko, Adullam, Gas, Maresha, Zip, Adoraim, Lachish, Azekah, Jorah, Aijalon, and Hebron. These were fortified cities in Judah and Benjamin. He strengthened their defenses and put commanders in them with supplies of food, olive oil, and wine. He put shield and spear in all the cities and made them very strong. So Judah and Benjamin were his. The priests and Levites from all their districts throughout Israel sided with him. The Levites even abandoned their pasture lands and property and came to Judah and Jerusalem, because Jeroboam and his son had rejected them as priests of the Lord. When he appointed his own priests for the high place and for the goats and calf idols he had made, those from every tribe of Israel who set their hearts on seeking the Lord, the God of Israel, followed the Levites to Jerusalem to offer sacrifices to the Lord, the God of their ancestors. They strengthened the kingdom of Judah and supported Jeroboam, son of Solomon, 3 years, following the ways of David and Solomon during this time. Rehoboam's family. Rehoboam married Mahalas, who was the daughter of David's son Jeremoth and of Rabbi Hali, the daughter of Jesse's son Eliab. He bore him sons, Jeush, Shemariah, and Jaham. Then he married Maacah, daughter of Absalom, who bore him Abijah, Arti, Jizar, and Shalomith. Rehoboam loved Maacah, daughter of Absalom, more than any of his other wives and concubines. In all, he had 18 wives and 60 concubines, 28 sons and 60 daughters. Rehoboam appointed Abijah, son of Machir, as crown prince. Among his brothers, in order to make him king, he acted wisely, dispersing some of his sons throughout his districts of Judah and Benjamin. And to all the fortified cities he gave them abundant provisions and took many wives for them. Shishak attacked Jerusalem. After Rehoboam's position as king had established and he had become strong, he and all Israel with him abandoned the law of the Lord, because they had been unfaithful to the Lord. Shishak, king of Egypt, attacked Jerusalem in the 5th year of King Rehoboam, with 1,200 chariots and 60,000 horsemen and the innumerable troops of Libyans, Sukkites, and Cushites. That name came with him from Egypt. He captured the fortified city of Judah and came as far as Jerusalem. Then the prophet Shemaiah came to Rehoboam and the leaders of Judah, who had assembled in Jerusalem for fear of Shishak, and he said to them, "This is what the Lord says, you have abandoned me, therefore I now abandon you to Shishak." The leaders of Israel and the king humbled themselves and said, "The Lord is just." When the Lord saw that they humbled themselves, this word of the Lord came to Shemaiah, "Since they have humbled themselves, I will not destroy them, but will soon give them deliverance. My wrath will not be poured out on Jerusalem through Shishak. They will, however, become subject to him, so that they may learn the difference between serving me and serving the king of other lands." When Shishak, king of Egypt, attacked Jerusalem, he carried off the treasuries of the temple of the Lord and the treasures of the royal palace. He took everything, including the gold shield Solomon had made. So King Rehoboam made bronze shields to replace them and assigned this to the commanders of the guard on duty at the entrance to the royal palace. Whenever the king went to the Lord's temple, the guard went with him, bearing the shield. Afterward, they returned them to the guard room. Because Rehoboam humbled himself, the Lord's anger turned from him, and he was not totally destroyed. Indeed, there was some good in Judah. King Rehoboam established himself firmly in Jerusalem and continued as king. He was 41 years old when he became king, and he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem. the city of God, the chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, in which it put his name. His mother's name was Naamah. She was an Ammonite. He did evil because he had not set his heart on seeking the Lord. As for the events of Rehoboam's reign, from beginning to end, are they not written in the record of Shemaiah the prophet and of Iddo the seer that deal with genealogies? There was continual warfare between Rehoboam and Jeroboam. Rehoboam rested with his ancestors and was buried in the city of David, and Abijah his son succeeded him as king. Abijah, king of Judah. In the 18 years of the reign of Jeroboam, Abijah became king of Judah, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 years. His mother's name was Maacah, daughter of Uriel of Gibeas. There was war between Abijah and Jeroboam. Abijah went into battle with an army of 400,000 able fighting men, and Jeroboam drew up a battle line against him with 800,000 able troops. Abijah stood on Mount Jermalaim in the hill country of Ephraim and said, Jeroboam and all Israel, listen to me. Don't you know that the Lord, the God of Israel, has given the kingship of Israel to David and his descendants forever by a covenant of oath? Yet Jeroboam, son of Nebat, an officials of Solomon, son of David, rebelled against his master. Some worthless scoundrels gathered around him and opposite Rehoboam, son of Solomon, when he was young and indecisive and not strong enough to resist them. And now you plan to resist the kingdom of the Lord, which is in the hands of David's descendants. You are indeed a vast army, and have you the golden calves that Jeroboam made to be your gods? But didn't you drive out the priest of the Lord, the son of Aaron, and the Levites, and make priests of your own as the people of other lands too? Whoever comes to consecrate it to himself with a young bull and 7 rams may become a priest of what are not good gods. As for us, the Lord is our God, we have not forsaken him. The priests who serve the Lord are sons of Aaron, and the Levites assist them every morning and every day, presents burnt offering and fragrant incense to the Lord. They set out the bread on the ceremonial clean table and light the lamps on the gold lampstand every evening. We are observing the requirements of the Lord our God, but you have forsaken him. God is with us. He is our leader. His priests with their trumpets will sound the battle cry against you. People of Israel, do not fight against the Lord, the God of your ancestors, for you will not succeed. Now Jeroboam had sent troops around to the rear, so that while he was in front of Judah, the ambush was behind them. Judah turned and saw that they were being attacked at both front and rear. That they cried out to the Lord. The priests blew their trumpets, and the men of Judah raised the battle cry. At the sound of their battle cry, God routed Jeroboam and all Israel before Abijah and Judah. The Israelites fled before Judah, and God delivered them into their hands. Abijah and his troops inflicted heavy loss on them, so that there were 500,000 casualties among Israel's able men. The Israelites were subdued on that occasion, and the people of Judah were victorious because they relied on the Lord, the God of their ancestors. Abijah pursued Jeroboam and took from him the town of Bethel, Jeshanah, and Ekron, with their surrounding villages. Jeroboam did not regain power during the time of Abijah, and the Lord struck him down, and he died. But Abijah grew in strength. He married 14 wives and had 22 sons and 16 daughters. The other events of Abijah reigned, what he did, what he said, are written in the annotations of the prophet Iddo.